I first learned about the Fujifilm X100 via the internet and some posts I'd seen about it. And then I was teaching a workshop in San Francisco, and one of the students there had an X100. It just recently come out, and I was like, oh, look at that! That's that Fuji camera that I've been hearing about. And he said, yeah, here, take it and try it out for the day, and see what you think about it. And I fell in love with it that day. And the very next morning, I saw a tweet by B&H, a big camera store in the US. They said, we have X100 in stock. And they would get 200 X100s in, and they would be gone in 5 minutes. So when I saw the tweet, I just immediately purchased it. And I was looking for a camera that would just be my carry with me camera. I wasn't looking to replace my DSLRs. I had no problem, with it. But the more and more I used the X100 and then the X Pro, the more I stopped using my DSLRs until it just became a point of, I'm going to sell my Canons and just use my Fuji. Yeah. Tips for street photography, being a portrait photographer, that's mainly what I do. Shooting street is something completely different. When I'm shooting portrait, I'm in control of the light, I'm in control of the background, the location, all of that. And with street, I'm not really in control. So with portrait, I would have a subject and then I go find a background. With street photography, I kind of have a different, the opposite thought for that is I find my background and then I wait for people to come into it. So I'm always looking for the background, I'm looking for light, for composition, and then it's about anticipating a moment. You see someone, walking down the street. I may have a green wall, and so I'm looking down the street and I see someone that has a red shirt. And oh, the red and the green, that's going to look good. And I hope that they're going to walk right on this line, and when they get to that spot, I'm going to take my picture. So I get focused, I get ready, and I just wait. And I'm just watching and watching, and then click, I take the shot. Another little tip that I do is if I'm wanting to photograph someone close by, I will stand near them and I'll act like I'm taking a picture above their head. And then I'll bring the camera down looking like, okay, I'm just looking at the picture I just took, but now I'm actually focused on them and I take my shot. And if they look at me, then I just pull the camera back up and I just kind of act dumb. And that helps me get really close to people and they're not really aware that I'm taking their picture. Yeah, I use this black rapid strap, and sometimes I walk with an X100 on one side, X100S, and an X Pro one on the other side, so that I can have one on each side. But sorry for standing up here. It's just always right here, and I usually have my hand on it, so I can just bring it right up. And if I'm wearing a vest or a coat, it actually hides under my coat. And so I can pick it up, take a picture, so it's kind of a Clint Eastwood, like, whoosh, gunslinger. I don't try to analyze it. I don't try to think about it. I blog what I want to blog about, and I don't blog enough, that's for sure. But I typically, when I write, I want to write like I'm having a conversation, and not that I'm telling you something, but I'm like hanging out telling you about something. And I try to say things that I would want to hear. I wish someone would have told me that 10 years ago. And so I'm going to write about that because either I need to hear it again myself, or I think someone might want to hear that. So I'm just honest with people, good or bad. If I like something, don't like something, I'll say it. So I guess just being honest and being true, you know, being genuine, people respect that. So. It helps me think about things. If I didn't have this, I couldn't think, because I pull on it a lot. I twirl it and twist it. And I think sometimes, I think I'm kind of done with my beard. I think I should cut it off, but I've had it for, I don't know, 17 years or something like that. Like, my kids and my family, you know, don't know me without it. So I trim it every 3 or 4 months, and I have to shorten it up because it's ready for a trim right now. But I've been thinking about just, but if I do it, I'm gonna make it some sort of like fun event. Like I'm gonna cut it for charity or something. Yeah. I've used a lot of cameras in my life, and I've picked up and walked around with many more kind of cameras. For me, what it came down to was the form and the function of this camera, the weight. It's perfectly weighted, the feel, the controls are there. And then with the large image, the APS-C sensor, the details are beautiful. The high ISO performance for low light is amazing. The lens is perfect. I love this lens. It's fast. And the X100S is silent. I could go on and on and on and on. The optical viewfinder is absolutely a work of art and genius in one thing. It's got that little bit of throwback to the old days of film, but it's all digital. It's, you know, film up front and digital in the back. And it starts conversations. When I'm shooting a client job or I'm out on the streets, people see this camera and they want to talk about it. And, you know, my Canon, Nikon, or my Phase 1, like, you know, they don't start as many conversations as my Fujis do.